The coronavirus is impacting businesses globally by disrupting supply chains, travel, production, and consumption, threatening operations and financial markets.
Between February 19 and March 23rd, the S&P 500 had its quickest per-market decline in history. The market fell by a third in just 1 month.
COVID-19 caused a unique economic crisis, the impact of which will be greater on some industries in particular.
For instance, during the pandemic, the oil industry saw its biggest fall in history. Aviation industry affected across the globe, bringing major airlines to declare bankruptcy.
The COVID-19 pandemic has posed an unprecedented challenge to global value chains as well, and hit hard major supply chain network hubs, including China, Europe, and the United States.
Multinational organizations are at the epicenter of the pandemic, as they account for 22% of global output and 70% of total trade.
The closing of factories, disruptions in transport, and rising concerns of essential supplies are directly affecting global operations, with a direct impact on unemployment.
America's Department of Labor observed the highest unemployment rate at 19.7% since the 2008 recession.
Some multinationals have not been paying their suppliers, which have left the latter in dire financial conditions.
To mitigate this impact, multinational companies should accelerate payment for goods to help suppliers adapt their production process to a different market after COVID-19.
These suppliers, which normally operate in developing countries, are integrated in global value chains. Evidence suggests that long-term supplier-company relationships and leveraging ecosystem partners makes companies less vulnerable to global risk and are essential to rapid recovery. Because traditional supply chains have transformed into supply networks, companies should invest in tools such as data integration across the entire supply chain to deal with the complexity and to introduce reactivity and flexibility in operations. More than 70% of all organizations saw it as a major threat, but less than 60% felt prepared.
Organizations face a delicate balance between the need to retain data for business sake and to minimize it to mitigate risk. Businesses should stay current with evolving data privacy guidance and align with their internal and consumer-facing policies to reduce the risk.
At the same time, remote work has been the new way of doing business for companies and employees on a global scale. Based on a global workplace analytics survey, our best estimate is that 25 to 30% of the workforce will be working from home multiple days a week by the end of 2021.
However, employees can benefit from the new way of working through better communication, increased productivity and efficiency. Global Workplace Analytics Survey found that work at home will save US employers over $30 billion a day. From sustainability perspective, both companies and employees benefit. There is no easier, quicker and cheaper way to reduce your carbon footprint than by reducing commuter travel.
The work-from-home shift has been the largest digital transformation the world has seen. COVID-19 has resulted in extreme consumer behavior and economic shifts.
In response to COVID-19, companies should implement a supply chain policy that support a larger batch size of inventory and follow a protocol of just in case rather than just in time.
The use of data analytics, especially artificial intelligence, will best address urgent tasks of multinational organizations. Adoption of a robust analytics strategy will tackle forecasting demand, identify potential supply chain disruption, informing strategic and financial decisions, and determine the effectiveness of crisis intervention strategies.
Multinational companies are facing a duality in terms of supporting continuity of operations and protecting the institutions and its customers.
The focus on continuing business operations has happened at the expense of heightened risk tolerance. Indeed, some companies are relaxing security controls just to be able to survive during the pandemic, which inevitably increases cyber risk.
Cyber threats include ransomware, malware, denial of service attacks on third parties, and social engineering attacks to manipulate customers and employers into giving confidential or personal information.
After peaking in early March, COVID-19 themed attacks settled into a new normal. Wall Street Journal ProSearch survey analyzed nearly 400 companies and found that 42% of companies have faced an attack in the past year.
While there is no single way to define what preparations companies should take to mitigate cyber risk, a strong plan includes the ability to detect and respond to data breaches and develop security-conscious workforce.
The Wall Street Journal ProSearch survey identified several measures as strong indicators for solid preparation. Some include identifying and protecting critical data, creating an incident response plan, purchase cybersecurity insurance, important indication that a company has identified risk, understands their critical data assets, and are aware of potential for disruptions if attacked.
Organizations should focus on business-critical issues to guide short-term decisions, while developing longer-term views of data to understand future disruption.
We are Insured Trusting,
Reporting for the Zurich Challenge
On the financial crisis management during the pandemic.
Thanks for watching.